As we settle in, I invite you to witness the traditional lighting of the lamp, symbolizing knowledge, clarity, and a bright path ahead. I invite the chief guest, Mr. Balagopal, Asha Varma, Vijay, Satish Chandran, Jay Krishnan, Anil GS, and our most recent addition, Shyama, for the lighting of the lamp.
Very good evening. Good evening, all of you. Thank you. Yes, I'm really privileged and extremely happy to stand here that InApp from one corner on that side have grown to 2 or 3 offices of this size, and now we have renovated this old place too with a great new look. And on this occasion, definitely I would like to first mention the name of Amarnath Raja, who's not with us, but he was the soul of InApp. And I would like to welcome Mrs. Asha Varma, his wife, to this event. Welcome. Next, I would extend a warm welcome to our friendly neighborhood CEOs and leaders from the companies around Nila, especially from the first and second floor, to be present here and greet us and wish us. Welcome all friends from our. Also like to welcome Mrs. Bindu, who's wife of our board member, Mr. Krishna Kumar. Welcome. Let me now welcome all of you before the most important person that I would. We are privileged that Mr. C. Balagopal, and I don't know how to introduce him. If you ask me, is he a bureaucrat? Yes, he was a bureaucrat. Is he an entrepreneur? Yes, he was an entrepreneur. Is he a technocrat? I think yes, he is a technocrat. Is he an industrialist? Yes, absolutely he is. Is he a banker? Yes, he was. Is he a writer? Yes, absolutely he is. So I don't know how to qualify you, sir, but right now he is the chairman of KSIDC. I think that is the easiest, final, the present role that he is holding. But he is all that I have mentioned. And I extend a warm welcome to this event, and we are honored by your presence, sir. I would also like to extend my warm welcome to his wife Vinita Nambiar, also to this event. Welcome. And yes, let's begin the celebrations and welcome all again. Thank you.
Thank you for the heartfelt welcome. The Nila Office has been the foundational stepping stone to the journey of InApp. And so I would like to invite Suchitra, Key Account Director and Vice President of InApp, and one among the earliest employees of InApp, to take you on a journey, a story of innovation, growth and resilience that makes InApp what it is today.
Good evening, everyone. So it's a special day for all of us as we are inaugurating our beautifully revamped InApp Nila Office. So standing here brings back a lot of good memories. So I'll take few minutes to share my personal reflection on InApp's journey. So InApp started in 2000 in a small house near the DPI junction. Rakesh Puri, Amarnath Raja, Satish Babu and Vijay just started this venture, and I was fortunately part of the first batch joining InApp. Jayan also joined around that time, and it felt like a small family building something meaningful. And I remember those days, if we want to do deployments or upload files to customers, we come to Technopark incubator office because here we have a better internet connection. In June 2000, we moved to this space, 121 Nila. It was a major milestone for InApp, and also for many of us it was a dream come true working in Technopark. I think we were around 20-25 people at that time. Another memory that always stands out is a critical release that we were doing for one of our first customers, Sun Microsystems. So Jayan and Satish, they were in the US, and our team was working here round the clock. And what I know is Satish was sitting in this same seat for around 48 hours. He was troubleshooting, looking at the logs, communicating to the team back here. Team was working here round the clock, fixing issues, doing the deployments and all. It was exhausting, but definitely it was fun. As the company grew, we added more space. We got 122 module, and in 2006, InApp acquired Datec and welcoming Krishna Kumar, KK and his team to InApp. With phase 3 of Technopark opening, we moved to we got a new space in the 9th floor of Yamuna building, and we got some other space nearby this office also for setting up our corporate office. And more recently, post-COVID, we started a new office in Infopark Kochi, giving our team in that region a space to closer to their home. At the heart of InApp, we have always been a company with a strong passion for technology and solving complex business problems. With the guidance from the technology leaders, we not only build softwares, we also built a strong team and also strong processes. At that time, we were one among the smallest companies to acquire CMMI level 3 and later level 5 certification. Until around 2015, our primary focus was on engineering excellence and delivering value through technology. We shifted gears. Vijay took over as the CEO, focusing on both technology and growth, both going hand in hand. Anil, as our CTO, brought in strong leadership for our technology teams, helping align our technical direction with the growth ambitions. And more recently, with Satish Chandran coming in, helped us focus on the account management, Jayan taking over the delivery, and Randy coming in to improve the customer experience. And through all these years, Shankar has been with us, a steady presence from our board, offering direction and wisdom that help shape our journey. If I talk in Anand Deshpande's language, we were in the second orbit of growth, and we are going into the third orbit, which means exponential growth, with bold moves, big dreams, and scaling new heights. And with all the actions and the numbers that we are talking, I'm confident that we are well on our way to reaching the next orbit of success. So this renovated office is more than just a new workspace. It's a symbol of how far we have come and a reminder of the journey that still lies ahead. I thank you all for being part of this journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Suchi, for the trip down memory lane. And now it is with great pride that I introduce our chief guest for the day, a visionary leader and an inspiring figure, Mr. Balagopal Chandrasekhar. So, in a few words, Mr. Balagopal is a respected writer, industrialist, philanthropist, and a distinguished career-spanning public service, entrepreneurship, and social development. He also served as an IAS officer in Manipur and Kerala between 1977 and 1983, before founding Penpal in 1985 that developed biomedical devices. It later partnered with Terumo Corporation to form Terumo Penpal Limited to become one of the world's largest blood bag manufacturers. He has also held key roles including the chairman of Federal Bank and more recently the chairman of KSIDC. Being a strong advocate for innovation, he's also founded the NAHA Trust and Mentor Startup through TIMED and other platforms. He's also a recipient of the National R&D Award and the author of several acclaimed books. We are incredibly honored to have you with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Balagopal to deliver the inaugural address.
So good afternoon, and let me start by congratulating InApp and all those connected with it, from the leadership to every single member, for having completed a very important milestone. This is your 25th year, and I think it's important to say a few words about this landmark, because I noticed that most discussion about new enterprises, especially in the IT field, is all about valuations. And people talk about becoming a unicorn, as if it was the destiny of every enterprise which has started to become a unicorn. And those which don't become unicorns are all failures. In which case, 99.999% of all enterprises started by people have been failures. So what I'm saying is, this is an absurd and a very, in my opinion personally, a very wrong yardstick by which to measure progress. The very fact that InApp is today a sustainable business making profits 25 years after it was started is a great achievement, and you should give yourselves a big round of applause. earlier today, just by sheer coincidence, at a hotel where my wife and I are staying, somebody came to see me along with a former trade union leader from my former factory, from my former company, Penpal. This guy, his name was Satish. He had retired on 30th of April after completing 34 years of service in the company. He joined in 91. I started the company a few years before that. So Satish came to thank me. And this ended up as a very funny session where I was thanking him for having devoted 34 years of his life to helping the company become what it was today. So we were not sharing empty words. I think every word which Satish said was sincere, because he said the company gave him a life, the company enabled him to raise a family, build a home, send his daughter to college. She is now educated, she is working, she's got a good job in Bangalore. And he's a man of consequence. He is a person who matters in a community, in a small community, which was the company. Penpal has a family of about 1,500 people. But in that area, Puliyarakonam, in Vilapulshala Panchayat, and in many other places, Satish is very well known. So Satish was thanking me for all what he had achieved through the company. And the story of Penpal, the company which I had the privilege of starting many years ago, the story of Penpal is the story of all the Satishes and people like him who were there, who performed various roles. Nowadays, not a week passes without me getting a phone call saying, "Sir, next week I'll be retiring." Then I make a joke. I say, "What? They retire? You are all retiring so young, you know." As if I'm trying to postpone the realization that I'm getting old. So why I'm saying this is, when I thanked Satish, I could see his eyes fill up, you know. Because what I was telling him was that all the achievements of Penpal, for which I am the one who is asked to walk up on the podium and receive various awards and various recognitions, Satish. And as I think it was Jayakrishnan who said, Terumo Penpal today, by the way, so I'm going to be talking a little bit about where you are situated, where you are working, and what a great place it is. I'm going to be talking about that. Because Terumo Penpal, which was a company which I started, that company is today the largest single location manufacturer of high-tech blood bags in the world. Not in India, not in Asia. The products are shipped to 58 countries. The health systems of 58 countries depend on the products coming from that factory in Puliyarakonam in Vilapulshala Panchayat. Okay. Now why do I say that? A company started with indigenous technology, developed in a national institution which had been untried except at the laboratory scale, the license taken by an ex-bureaucrat who was 30 years old and had no business experience, in a state and a district which is not supposed to have an industrial culture, where people used to say, "Where is your business located?" If you say Kerala, that means it's gone, you know. So, with all these negatives, just look at the probability of it succeeding. And it succeeded. So whenever I used to say, whenever I participate in some conference or seminar and I say, I don't agree with this proposition that nothing works in Kerala, the people there used to say, "Bala, you cannot make a case out of an exception. Your company, that is my company, according to them was an exception." But you know, this ways of thinking are so deep-seated and so set in concrete that even when I wrote a book, my fourth book was called Below the Radar, and I described the success stories of 50 manufacturing companies, not one or two, 50 modern manufacturing companies which are doing outstandingly well in Kerala today. There was a friend who told me, Bala, all 50 are exceptions. Exception, I think it has become different. So my point is, this is so deep set, this view. So why am I saying that today on the 25th anniversary of your company, which is operating in a completely different field, which is IT, there is a perception, and no matter how many of you say, no, you like being in Trivandrum and all that. I remember in the early days when I used to try to hire people to work in my factory, some smart candidates who were brought by headhunters, once they heard that the job is in Trivandrum, they used to say, okay, sir, thank you, sir, but no thanks. So I used to say, what's the problem? Is it the pay? Is it the work? Is it? They said, no, sir. How will I explain Trivandrum in my resume? But that is, he's already thinking of his next job. And he's thinking, how am I going to explain this phase, 3 years or whatever in Trivandrum? So in other words, it was supposed to be, they perceived it as such a big negative. But my young friends, I think we have all traveled a big distance from that time, isn't it? Today, is Trivandrum seen as a negative in anybody's resume? I don't think so. I know there are, for reasons which are connected with our society and with our conservative families, etc., there are many young people who want to be outside Kerala, especially the girls. That is for understandable reasons. You have a very conservative society and you are always under not just one pair of eyes, but several pairs of eyes are scrutinizing you and reporting back to home whatever you do and all that. So if you go to some other place where nobody knows you, that itself, it might be the lousiest place in the world. It might be the most expensive place in the world, but it has this great positive that nobody knows you there. So that phase and all, I think we've outgrown that. And now we are coming to a phase where the ecosystem and its capacity to support modern business and modern enterprise is beginning to matter. And you all as young people, and I understand about half of you have joined the company in the last 5 years. So you must be all, but I would say on the wrong side of 30, you must be below 30. So for all of you, you will be thinking about the future, isn't it? How is this state going to develop? Is this state developing at all? Because there is another narrative that just across the border there is a tremendous industrial activity happening in Tamil Nadu and in Karnataka and Andhra, and nothing is happening here. And this is again one of those things of what's called confirmation bias. Daniel Kahneman wrote about various biases, and one of the biases they write about is confirmation bias. What is confirmation bias? In a nutshell, it means if you are very strongly of a certain view, your mind filters out all data which contradicts that view and allows in only that data which confirms that view. So if you are convinced that Kerala is not a good place for business, you will find every bit of anecdotal data which comes to you will be confirming this proposition that nothing works in Kerala. I can go into the data, etc., and I will, in fact, dwell on it because you are all data-driven, analytical minds, and so you will be wanting some data. Let's take growth. In the year 2000, the gross state domestic product of Kerala was 77,000 crores. What the figures I'm stating are at current prices. So you will have to make allowances for that, but it's all comparable with all other state data. 77,000 crores in the year 2000. In the year 2024, it had grown to 11 lakh crores. During this 24-year period, the gross state domestic product of Kerala had doubled 4 times. It doubled first in 2006, it doubled again in 2012, it doubled again in 2018, it doubled again in 2024. These are facts you can go and check up. I'm sure there must be people here already Googling and finding out. The point is, this means, for instance, that 77,000 crores became 1.5 lakh crores in 2006, that became 3 lakh crores in 2012, that became 6 lakh crores in 2018, and that became 11.5 to 12 lakh crores. If you just project the rate of growth of the economy as recorded for the last 24 years, if you project it for the next 24 years, Kerala will be $1 trillion economy by 2047. Mathematically, you can check for yourself. This has nothing to do with my opinion or me being pro Kerala or pro this or anti that or anything. It's nothing to do with all that. This is just what the data says. Okay. So, this is an economy which in nominal terms is doubling, almost doubling every 6.5, 7 years. Which means what? So that's the past. So I feel what you all should be thinking about, and as businesses worrying about, and I mean not worrying, planning about is, if it is 11 or 12 lakh crores today, it's going to be 24 lakh crores by 2030 or 2032. How ready are you for that growth? If you're an IT company, or if you're a logistics company, or if you're a transportation company, or if you're a supermarket, or if you're a bakery manufacturer, bakery products manufacturer, how are you preparing for an economy which is going to double in size in every respect in the next 6 to 8 years? Are we even thinking about that? So this is the first question to the managements and all. But the good news for the youth is, this is an economy which is growing. Not just Kerala. Kerala is a very small part of a very large economy, India, which is one of the few economies which is still growing well. Whatever the disputes on various sides of the political spectrum are about what exactly is the rate of growth of the Indian economy, IMF says it is between 6.5% and 7.5%. Now 6.5% to 7.5% of an economy which the nominal GDP has crossed $4 trillion, and the more meaningful one, not for any ranking, but the more meaningful one for business and you and me and all this is purchasing power parity, is 14 trillion. For a $14 trillion economy growing at 6.5%, why I am saying this is just to frame an issue which is what? Which is this issue which you read about every day in the newspaper about young people leaving Kerala and leaving India and going out somewhere to seek something, it's not clear to me what. And where are they going to seek it? Economies which, according to IMF norms, if an economy has 2 successive quarters of negative growth, it is decreed to be in recession. We are all fighting to get into economies which are in recession. I mean, we really should have our heads examined, you know. And what are these things which are driving our people to do this? There are surveys of young people who are going abroad for studies, etc. and various reasons and all they are given. I have a lot of counter questions to them and many people get offended. I ask, how many people are there among those who go there borrowing money, mortgaging their property, putting their families into debt, to go and do a social science course in a college in a town which nobody has heard of, except that you know it is located in Ireland or in New Zealand or somewhere. Other than that, we haven't heard of those universities or the program. Okay? And it will have some very, very interesting names, those courses and all that. But the person has to shell out 40 to 50 lakhs a year for an undergraduate program or even higher for a postgraduate program. What is driving them to do this? there was a comparative study made of students from China and students from India. Now, students from China and India constitute the largest cohorts of foreign students who were going to Western universities. Now, the Chinese numbers are falling off a cliff. Indian numbers are still growing. That's natural because we are way behind China in terms of job creation and economic development, etc. But that survey studied the reasons why Chinese students go for studies in the US and the reasons why Indian students go for. More than 75% of the Chinese students who were going abroad were going to study mainly in STEM subjects and engineering. And their interest was the quality of education which they are going to get, so they were very careful in their choice of college. They used to only choose certain universities. And they studied the Indian students and found the Indian students thing was wherever they got admission. And preferably where there was no restriction on doing work while studying. Whereas for the Chinese that was not important at all. So there is a very interesting thing about, it is very clear that for a substance, see in our view, say for instance my generation, most of those who went to the US and UK for studies were people from IITs and Indian Institute of Science and NITs and Birla Institute of Technology and places like that. Today, the profile of the people going abroad are, very few of them would have cleared the NEET exams. Or the corollary, if you study, how many of those who have cleared the entrance exams to all the prestigious engineering colleges and medical colleges, how many of them go abroad will be very small proportion. So this apprehension that there is a brain drain happening, I don't think we need to have any fear about that. Something else is happening, a social phenomenon is happening here. And in India too, I am saying that we need not worry too much about it because this local growth story which has not dominated, which has not tended to count in the younger people's calculation, is going to begin to count now. Already there is anecdotal evidence that quite a significant number of people are trying to come back even before completing their education because they're finding the expenses are too much. Or they're getting a realization that whatever they're studying there is not going to help them to get a job here. And they are not going to get many jobs there. You know, in China, there is apparently a term for the person who comes back to China after going abroad, completing studies, working there for a few years and then coming back to China. There's a word, I forget the exact Chinese phrase, but it has a meaning. It means the returning turtle. You know, turtles which come back as like a migratory turtles. So this is not a complimentary term. What the problem is, and this all of you will understand and appreciate. See, if you are a graduate from an engineering college somewhere in Kerala or Tamil Nadu or Gurgaon, wherever, your graduating batch of which you are a part forms a powerful network which is there for life. You studied together for 3-4 years. You form a group which remains in touch for the rest of your lives. Businesses know that this is one of the most powerful networks which helps them in their business. Now the Chinese employer is saying to the guy who is coming back, of what use are your networks to me? You have a network of students who studied with you in Southampton. My business is not in Southampton. My business is in Fujian or in Changchun or some place like that. Or similarly, if you take an Indian employer, of what earthly use is to an Indian employer who is located in Trivandrum, Kochi or Chennai that you have an excellent network in Edinburgh, that you studied with some fellows there. Whereas, if on the other hand you studied, your colleagues were all, you were all educated in some university here, you then get a job, your colleagues are all becoming, you will all rise at roughly the same level. So 10 years later, you're all divisional heads. 15 years later, you're all plant heads or manufacturing heads or functional heads. And you can just pick up the phone and say, hey Vijay, we'll talk about old days and all, and then say, I've got this particular deal, so why don't we do the deal? A lot of business gets done like this. So I think this change is already beginning to happen. And I'll just wrap up here. The reason why I'm mentioning this is, mostly I talk with respect to Kerala, but here this also applies to India. The reason why I'm mentioning this is, whatever we may say about the politics of countries and states and all, India is already reaching a stage, has reached a stage, past a inflection point where the economy develops a certain momentum of its own. Then, regardless of who comes in next and what tweaking they do with the economic policy or not, the economy moves on. It gets a certain momentum, it keeps going. The rate of growth may drop because of external conditions from 6.5% to 5.5%. Or it may go up by 0.5%, that's about it. But it will keep growing. And there's very little that can stop the Indian economy, and there's very little that can stop the Kerala economy from growing. Now, in both these cases, there is a lot of impressive data which unfortunately is not out there in the public domain, and we are trying to, in KSIDC, to create some more awareness in the media about economic measures and economic metrics, etc. And instead of just going for headline stories, to get some numbers, to get people to understand the numbers, to understand what is the gross state domestic product of their city. There was recently an article by Shiv Kumar, who was a former head of Google India and former head of Pepsi and many other multinational companies. Shiv Kumar was also later, I think, chairman of the board of governors of one of the IIT and then chairman of board of governors of one of the IIMs. He visited Cochin and he made a post in LinkedIn because he was visiting Cochin after 10 years. And the previous visit must have been for 1 day or 2 days. And he said he was absolutely blown away by what he saw in Cochin. The shops, the kind of cars which he saw on the streets, and then he provided data. He said the per capita GDP of Cochin is $10,000 per year, which puts it in a middle income category bracket. Of course, Bangalore and a few other cities will also be up there. But our mindset, it is like, it's like somebody said, we have this hunger gene in our bodies, and it's because of the hunger gene, when people have been poor for a very long time, and the hunger gene is still there, that's what leads to obesity, because we don't know when to stop eating. So just like the hunger gene, I think there is a poverty gene which has crept into our minds. This poverty mindset that we don't have the money, that we don't have the resources. When all around us is evidence that the resources are there. That if you look at not just the stock market, if you just look at the mutual funds, if you just look at the amount of money which was withdrawn by FIIs at various provocations over the last few years, and what happened to the local stock market? Not a blip. After the initial drop, it immediately recovered. Why? Because Indian funds flowed in. There's such an enormous amount of savings waiting to be tapped in this country. So, the good news for all of us, there's only one direction in which we can go, and that's up. We've been pretty slow in going about it as a country, and as a state, there have been good things happening in this state, but nobody has seen it. And everybody still thinks the narrative of Kerala is Attimari, No Kukuli, Hartal. They think these three mantras describe Kerala, but that's not true. So I will stop here with, last time when I was taken on a visit to Vizhinjam Port. So this economic development is not just about numbers, it's also what you see, what you experience, isn't it? You can't, how do you visualize $4 trillion? You can't visualize it. You need to see something. So I went to Vizhinjam Port and I met the people there. I spent 2-3 hours. I was really fascinated by what I saw. Pictures don't do justice to it. You have to go there and preferably go there after sunset. Then you will see what really happens in Vizhinjam. Then we were driving back and my host, who was one of the senior people in the Vizhinjam Port, he took me for a drive all the way up to Thonakal and back. He said, if you're not in a hurry, I just want you to see something. So he was driving me from Vizhinjam. Once we got onto NH66, the bypass, and we drove. And we passed, after some time we passed this SP Fort Hospital, then we passed the Anantapuri Hospital, 400 bedded, one is 600 bedded, all the lights on, lots of cars, lots of people. The highways were filled with roads. Then we passed the airport, then the Mall of Travancore, and then after that on the same side is the Lulu Mall, etc. And on the other side, all the multi-storied buildings, the O by Tamara and the 5-star hotels, Gokulam. And then we come to the Technopark, phase 3, phase 2, phase 1, all the various things, which you all take for granted because you pass it every day. And then we drove on and then we passed the Digital University campus and all that. And then finally we ended up at the Thonakal at the Life Science Park, turned around and came back. And that guy told me, in the last 15 years, $20 billion has been invested and is already up there. What you are seeing is that, $20 billion invested. Did any one of you know that $20 billion was invested here? FDI, Gujarati, going somewhere, nothing is happening here. Then who built all this? What is all this? And look at the thousands of people like you who are working and earning good livelihoods in all these things which I described. So economic development is not just a number. City is changing, the state is changing before our eyes. So let me circle back to where I started. 25 years is a long time in the life of a person also. It is a lifetime in the life of an organization. And any organization which can be where you are today, 25 years after it was just an idea in the minds of a few founders, is credit to your resilience, the resilience of your business model, and the hard work of every one of you. Building a sustainable business is an achievement by itself, and you deserve everybody's appreciation and admiration for that. I congratulate you on that, and I wish you well for the next 25 years of growth. And it doesn't matter what your turnover is and what the valuation you reach, as long as you're making profit, and as long as you have many satisfied customers, and as long as your next year's order book is full, you're in a great place. Thank you. Wish you all the best.
Thank you so much for your insightful words. I'm requesting you to stay back for so now we'll be heading into our Q&A session where the audience can ask questions and interact with him and ask any questions that you would like to know. So let's start off. Anyone that has questions, we will be taking questions for the next 10 minutes.
Hello. So, as you worked in both the government as well as this industry, is there any particular advice you would give to us young professionals, like who are working in this tech-driven and fastly growing environment?
The difference between government and...
No, any particular advice for us young people who are working in such environments?
You know, I attended I'm trying to answer your question indirectly. I attended a program at an institution of higher learning in Cochin, and there was a panel discussion, and I was part of the panel. And the theme of the panel discussion was the need for value education in higher education. So I think what they expected was that everybody will say, yes, you know, we people these days are, values are going down and everything. In the old days, everything was great. So I have a habit of being a contrarian. So I said, my first point is that I don't think values are deteriorating and all. It's just that values are changing. There's a change. This is a different world. This is a different generation. And you can't fix a values problem at a higher education stage. I said this is an upstream problem. The damage is done very much earlier. The damage is done in the homes. It's done during childhood. It's done during your school education. It's done during your religious instruction. You can't undo all that by having a one semester program or one credit on values in a higher education program. So I said it's pointless. You cannot, it doesn't serve any purpose. So that was my first point. But my second point was more, I think, consequential. I said that when I look around me and I look at the world and the mess my generation created, I think you guys are definitely not going to do as bad a job as we did. And we are in no position to advise the younger generation for anything. So, if you have any specific questions, maybe after this session I can talk about it. But by and large, I have no advice to give because I think my generation should just stop talking and listen to you.
Any more questions? We have more time.
Public sector going into the world established kind of medical industry part. Definitely, there is one thing that we want to benefit from this journey is what are two of the mindset shifts or an organization principle that we can take away from you when we have to look at how do we scale and sustain that particular growth when we scale up.
Thank you. I think the best way I can answer your question is by just looking back at my journey as an entrepreneur. So at the age of 30, I come out of government service and I start the journey as an entrepreneur and go through all the usual cycles, all the troubles are. The most important lessons, I would say, are, I just have some points where, when you get older, you need some points. Anyway, I can't find where I put it, so it looks like my memory is really bad. But the first point is, the first thing which we should have is, we should aim very high. See, the problem is, the tendency, I think what we are taught by many courses and all that, is to be careful, is to be prudent, is to be sensible, and all nice sounding words, but what they all mean is, don't try to reach out for something which you cannot reach. Now that I think is very wrong advice. You should not worry about whether you can reach it or not. You must have a goal. Michelangelo famously said, the real danger is not that you aim aim too high and fail. The real danger is that you aim too low and succeed. So when you are negotiating with your members of your team for next year's targets, what is happening is this tussle, So my point is, it is like going out to a gym and working out. If you just pick up what you know you can do every time, your body is not going to really, day to day, week to week, month to month, you will remain the same. You stretch a little more than you can. In the same way, I think. So first thing we did was we put a very ambitious goal. And what was the goal? It was very ambitious. We said we are going to be the best in the world. And so this was not a vague thing. There were only 6 manufacturers of this product. And we targeted the top world. This is a Japanese company called Terumo, who has fate would have it, later became our partners. They in fact acquired me. But at that time, they were our competitors and they produced the best blood bag systems in the world. So we said, we had actually we literally had a target and a Terumo blood bag placed on it, and we said that's the target. So first thing is really aim high and don't worry about where you are at a particular time. I think that's the first goal. The second thing which we try to do in the organization that's very important is to develop a culture of conveying bad news early. See, this is most organizations, unfortunately, most bosses, what do? They shoot the messenger, isn't it? The guy who brings the bad news, God help him or her. That person's promotion is gone, job gone, everything is gone. Because he or she did the big mistake of bringing bad news. But actually, that's the person you have to value the most. In any discussion, the person who somebody says, but I see this problem ahead. You should not say, why are you saying something negative? That person is of great value. I think it was Napoleon who said that, during a battle, when the action was going on, he is retiring to his tent to catch 1 hour's short nap or something. He used to tell his generals, wake me up only if there is bad news. So he says, if we won the war, don't wake me up. We'll meet at breakfast. But if there's bad news, I want to know it immediately. So to develop a culture of conveying, we may think it is small, it's not small. It has to percolate right down the organization, and it really calls for great leadership at the top and right down to every team level. If you have a team which they are unafraid to speak their mind, you have a great team. Otherwise, no matter what the competence level is, they are always hiding something from you if they don't speak up. So that's the second thing. I think I will stop with these two. These are two of there are many more.
Thank you, Kiran. Any more questions?
I have a two-part question. So the first part is, in the beginning you were saying that we have a sustainable growth with our entire product doubling every 6 years. So what makes it sustainable? So how are we able to achieve this consistent doubling every 6 years? Is there anything specific to the geography or anything specific to Kerala as such which is causing this? And the second part of the question is, I was able to resonate with what you are saying because I was reading one of your books, Below the Radar, wherein you have given a similar sentiment. So when I read that, I saw an author, and when you're talking here, I'm seeing the chairman of KSIDC. So how do you seamlessly switch between these hats so effortlessly?
Yeah, I'm just going to be talking some basic concepts here, which are easy to understand. The good news for a developing economy is you have a significant proportion of all your resources that are underemployed. The bad news for a developed economy is most of your resources are almost fully employed. Whether they are people resources, whether they are capital resources, whether they are land resources, whether they are your mineral resources, almost all are being fully utilized, fully. That's why you will understand this obsession in the US and in developed economies with inflation. Why they are obsessed with inflation is they feel that any surplus cash floating around in an economy will mean price rise. Now, the good news for us in an underdeveloped economy where there are a lot of underutilized resources, primarily among them being people, human resources, as well as all the other resources in the economy are underutilized. Is whatever investment we put in is not going to, unless there has been some local mismanagement, we need not worry too much about inflation. We have so many underutilized resources that it will only mean that resources get better employed. So for example, in our agriculture itself, it requires a lot of capital. But agriculture also requires a lot of people to be moved out of agriculture. Today the people are there in agriculture because there are no jobs in the secondary sector and tertiary sector. The success of an economy is in moving people out of the agricultural sector into the secondary, the manufacturing sector and the tertiary sector. In the US, for example, only around 2% of the economy or less of GDP is agriculture. And the percentage of employment is even less of the people there. Whereas for India, it's around 50% of the people are still employed in a sector which produces only about 25 to 30% of the GDP. So the good news here for us is that, so if you take Kerala being part of a developing economy, the fact that the nominal GDP has been doubling every 6 years doesn't mean anything really, that anything phenomenal has been done. All that it means is, in the last 2 to 3 decades, those forces or those obstacles which were holding back economic development are gradually reducing, and the engine of the economy is able to take off. Now, in the last 2 to 3 decades, I haven't seen any evidence of any real planned strategic moves in the management of the Indian economy. So I wouldn't ascribe it to any great strategy. But at least we have done the first thing, which is we're doing the right thing by trying to remove the obstacles. Now, as long as that process of reforming and removing obstacles in the way of economic activity, by ease of doing business, by single window systems, by online registrations, by making transactions simpler, by, say, you take a simple example like, this must be one of the best countries in the world to get a new passport. You try getting a new passport in the US, my friends who are there who are telling me about trying to get a change. There you will understand what bureaucracy is compared to here. Here now, because of the system and run by a very efficient service provider, therefore, so all these things are beginning to have an effect. This is a very big question which you asked, but in as short a way as possible, I am trying to answer it. I don't remember the second part. Second part, you said something about my KSIDC hat. I didn't get it. Maybe I'll answer it later. Thank you.
We'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the incredible efforts of the team behind the revamp, Noster. Noster is a dynamic and innovative architectural firm based in Kerala with great expertise on crafting environments that are both aesthetically pleasing and functional. They've been working with us since December in creating such a beautiful revamped office that we are seeing and we are in right now. So your dedication and hard work have really helped transform this vision into reality. So let's give a huge round of applause for the team. I'd like to invite Anas, the CEO, Shijin, the project manager, Shahim, the technical designer, and Krishna Prasad, the director of design, to represent the team to receive the award. Vijay, I would like to invite you to give the token of appreciation. Call out a few of our very own team members who have worked endlessly to ensure the smooth functioning and execution of the revamp. I'd like to invite Mr. Balagopal to present them a token of appreciation. Please welcome Shiva, Manoj, Vishnu and Paras, who worked really hard behind this revamp. Thank you, Shiva, for leading the team and getting this done in a timely manner. Give a huge round of applause. Shaini, Director of HR, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. Truly a special day indeed. A day filled with pride, nostalgia, gratitude, and joy. This space holds not just the memories, not just the bricks and beams. It holds memories, milestones, and meanings. As rightly pointed out by Suchi in the journey of InApp. Some of us started our journey here. First job is always special. Some of us, our career started here. And for some of us, our journey with InApp started in this office. So let me begin by expressing our sincere gratitude to our chief guest, Mr. Balagopal Chandrasekhar and Ms. Vinita. It's a privilege to have you with us. Our special guests and well-wishers, thank you so much. Your presence means a lot to us. Our dear Kochi team, who are not here right now, but thank you so much. They started early in the morning to be here with us. The celebration would not have been complete without them. Thank you so much, and a big round of applause to them. And how can we forget the flash mob team? Thank you so much. The smiles you brought in, the energy and the rhythm. It was indeed great. You reminded all of us that fun and joy are as important as the goals. The Nostal team, the true elegance reflects your professionalism and the commitment to the work. Thank you so much. Our internal champions, the entire renovation led from the front, Shiva, Jishnu, Manoj, Roger and Thomas. Thank you for going beyond and above and making this office look as beautiful as it is. Finally, the strongest pillars, Anil, Satish, Jayan and Vijay. Thank you for your commitment and making this transformational change. As we move forward, let us remember that an exciting path ahead is waiting for us, and let the celebration continue. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shaini. Now, what's a celebration without something sweet? So I'd like to invite the chief guest, Mr. Balagopal, to lead the cake cutting ceremony. I will also welcome Asha Verma, Bindu, Satish, Anil, Jain, and Rubina and Vijay to help cut the cake as well.